Probably rattlesnakes. Probably rattlesnakes under there. Whoa. Punched me right in the leg.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Blackwater. This is part 2 of the no feeder challenge. We are I just got back from Rock Springs, where we had knocked down some black bucks and a nice cyca buck. And since the first episode that we did on this series, we've got a lot of trail cam pictures, mainly of does. We've got a big mature mama doe with a fawn that's just now losing her spots, and then I've had 2 different mature does, very distinctive on their hide color, and so that's how I'm telling them apart. So that's 3 mama does total, 1 fawn. Have not seen a buck yet, and then we've had 1 big pig that's coming through that trail pretty consistent, and then a bunch of coons, an armadillo, and a couple possums. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go back down over there. We're going to freshen up that scrape. I've actually got a buck tarsal gland too. The area of Texas I live in here is called the Cross Timbers, and we're in the Cross Timbers South Zone. And if you get on Texas Parks and Wildlife and read their study on rut and the white-tailed deer, their earliest breeding date is around October 13th, and their last breeding date is around December 17th, with a peak breeding date of November the 15th. So we're in that time frame right now. Today's October 17th, so we're just 4 days into the very first part. So there's probably a little breeding action right now because of the earliest date being on the 13th, and we're at the 17th. But we did go ahead and bring some white-tailed tarsal glands, and I'm going to add that to our scrape also, and hope that maybe there's a buck around that thinks that these 3 does are already getting tended to. You have to remember, we don't have any bait out right now, so the path that these does are taking is their natural everyday path. That's just a travel corridor. If you watched the last video, we found the pinch point. We found a really good travel corridor. We hit that perfect. We're spot on with that travel corridor. So we've got them coming through there. If that's where the females are, there eventually will be a buck. The second great thing that we've seen is that one of the females is carrying this year's fawn with her still. So she was obviously bred at some point last season, and if this is her natural path, a big buck, or a buck in general, has to be around the area somewhere. So with these tarsal glands and with keeping that scrape fresh, our hope is that we'll be able to catch him, at least come down there and check who else is in his area, and then we'll get a good look at him on camera. Now, the last part about this is that with my guys up north, I started doing a lot of research. They are using blinds. A lot of them are using ladder stands, lock-ons, stuff like that. I do have the ability to do that down here, but since my business is mainly down south where we don't have the ability to do that, we're gonna do a pop-up blind. So also in this video, I will show you guys how I set up my pop-up blinds and how I brush them in to stay completely concealed during the hunt. We're going to get it about 20 yards away from where we're hoping to make our kill at, and then we're just going to let this rest until we get proof that old big boy is coming through that creek bed, and then we're going to get out there and kill him. All right, so to freshen up our scrape today, we're going to use these 2 products. This is the Grave Digger. So basically what it is it is soil that Code Blue has taken and infused with doe and estrus urine. And so all we're going to do is clean our scrape back up, and we're going to pour this whole bottle on top of that. It'll add new soil with the doe urine infused in it. And then this is the tarsal gland. Now, each one of this comes from a deer in a breeding pen facility. And so we've got the deer, the date it was taken, how many are in the bottle, and then on the back it'll tell you exactly how to use that to set yourself up for success on a mock scrape. I bought just a little bitty 1-man ameristep doghouse pop-up, and so all we're going to do with that is take that out, throw it up, brush that in really good. We're going to take our rangefinder over there and get it exactly 20 yards from where we think the shot is going to be. That way, even if he's a few steps either way, we're still within that 30-yard range, and we'll be able to put that buck down. One thing to remember when you're walking into your sets, whether you're doing it for the first time or the 50th time, always take the same path. Don't don't zigzag in and out and take new paths all the time, because all you're doing is just throwing your scent all through there. So try to keep the same basically straight line from point A to point B, get in, get out kind of thing, and keep your scent to a minimum. You're gonna get it in there. There's no way you're not gonna get it in there. I don't care what you do. Even the Fox P gag video, you can use the code blue or something like that, but you're gonna leave a trace of human scent. So the quickest route in and out of somewhere, the fastest you can do it, and the less amount of things you can touch with your hands and feet, the better you are when it comes time to actually hunt. All right, guys, before we set up our blind, we're going to go ahead and do the scrape first, get that freshened back up. So let's knock that out real quick, and then we will pick us a spot to brush the ameristep in. Alright, so I poured the juice from that tarsal gland jar on top of my scrape. Now I'm just going to take the tarsal gland that's in this bag, and I'm going to hang it from the licking branch that is above our scrape, and just let that scent continue to carry above the ground a little bit. Now we got our scrape all fixed up perfect. I think it's going to do really well for us. Now we just have to look around here. We're going to find us a spot, like I said, about 20 yards away. We're going to brush this ameristep in. We're going to try to be as quiet as possible and then sneak back out of here. I'm sure y'all couldn't hear that, but I just got blown at. I'm sure it's one of my resident does that I've been catching on trail camera. But anyways, that's gonna happen. You're not gonna get in and set something up without getting blown at. So I found this little spot right here behind me, right where that log is right there. Is exactly 20 yards from our scrape. So remember, it's okay that I got blown at. I don't like it, but I'm planning on the buck being here working this scrape around the middle of November. Today is October the 16th, and so I've got plenty of time to get this set up. I'm going to take my machete, clear this out real well, put the blind in, brush it in, get my stuff, and get back out of here. Alright, so there's the blind there. Like I said, it's a tiny little blind, nothing special, but here's a good tip for you guys. All these strings that come with it, okay? You see these middle clips right here? The best thing to do with these strings, use your stakes to stake the blind down. You know, if you're in a windy area or whatever, take your chance. But take some of these strings and run them through those side clips. Run it around the blind. Use that to hang your extra brush off of, because obviously this blind right here does not match these surroundings. No way, no how. And you're not going to find a camo pattern that does. So take that string, run around there, use that as kind of a guide wire to hang some of the natural vegetation off of to break up your outline. Good buddy of mine, Aaron Lane, he's the one that showed me this, and he uses baling wire. And when he shot his big buck with me a few years ago, 163, that's what he was doing. He used that wire, wrapped it around, hung cedar branches from a pop-up that we hung that same day, and he was able to kill that giant buck. So we got her somewhat brushed in pretty good. Not as good as I normally would, but I'm used to cedar country where I can really hide something good. And my little machete ain't doing so hot chopping stuff up, so we covered up with some blood weeds pretty good. I think in low light conditions we'll be all right, but we're gonna just leave it here and let them get used to it. And I'm gonna run back, grab my chair, put my chair in there, and then we will be finished. Real smart thing to keep in mind is that once you finish brushing your blind in, get in there, sit down inside of it, and look out to where you're planning on making your shot at. Mine is at the scrape. I have to be sure that there's not going to be any low-hanging limbs or briars or anything like that coming up through the lane that I'm shooting through. So once you get it brushed in, sit down in there, make sure you've got a clear lane to where you're wanting to make your kill shot at. If you don't, just get out, trim it up. Once you get it cleared out and you know it's the way you like it, then you know you're set, you're ready to go, and you'll be ready when he walks through. Well guys, we got it all set up. We just got back here to the house. We've got the new Vertex out. I'm gonna shoot back at 30 yards again after missing that 8-point with those other broadheads a week ago. I went back and picked up some of the trusty old Magnus Stinger buzz cuts. Been shooting them my whole life, and not one time have they ever let me down. So pick those guys back up. I'm gonna dial her back in and just sit patiently and wait for the trail camera to send me some pictures of that big buck down there on the creek bank. Pretty dang good. Well guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Blackwater. Hey, if you enjoy these tech tip videos or how-to videos, leave it in the comments below. I'm happy to do more. I obviously don't know everything there is to know about hunting, but it is my job and I do know a little bit about it, and can help out, you know, maybe in some areas that you've forgotten or just haven't quite learned yet, and I just really enjoy being able to do that and help people out with stuff like that. So you guys wish me luck. Hopefully on episode 3 of this series we're knocking down a big buck in the creek bottom, but until then, you guys stay tuned. We're headed back down to Carter Valley on Monday, and we're going to be knocking down some big aoudad down there, and I will have the camera out and you guys will get to join with us. So thanks again for watching. Click subscribe if you haven't, click like if you like this video, and we'll see y'all tomorrow on the next one.